Right, in this video, we're trying to help you decide what caliber you want to start off with if you want to carry a gun for self-defense. Now, we'll talk a little bit of how a bullet reacts when it does damage in tissue. We're talking about mainly about human tissue and animal tissue. And we have 7 bullets right here, 7 calibers that I do carry myself. And we'll talk very briefly about these calibers right there. And then we have 3 gun sizes that I recommend. One is the micro compact. This is the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus, chambered at 9mm. It's not loaded, as you can see, and we have its magazine right here. And we also have a compact size. This is a Glock 19, chambered at 9mm as well, with its magazine right here. And of course, this one's not loaded, as you can see. Okay. And also we have a full-size pistol. This is a 6-hour P226, chambered in 40mm, and as you can see, it's not chambered. Okay, there's no bullets, ammo anywhere. And here's its magazine right here. So what we want to talk about first, to give you an idea, a good description of which bullet you want to carry, we'll talk about what, like I said, what happens when that bullet hits tissue. So I have a diagram right here that I want to show you, and in this diagram we'll talk about hydrostatic shock, or what hydrostatic shock causes, which causes a hydrostatic wave. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll also talk about kinetic energy, how important kinetic energy is in a bullet to cause what we call stopping power. Here we have a little diagram that I drew for you about what happens, what kind of damage, what it looks like when the bullet is traveling through tissue. But before, let's talk a little bit about hydrostatic shock. Okay, now hydro means water, hydrostatic means the equilibrium of liquids and the pressure exerted by liquid at rest. Now, a definition of hydrostatic shock would be a bullet's high velocity impact that creates what's called a pressure wave that causes damage to the tissue and neural damage as well, without the bullet hitting the vital organs. That's what hydrostatic shock means in a nutshell. Now, let's talk about energy transfer. But before we talk about energy transfer, let's define kinetic energy, and you'll see why kinetic energy is important to define in just a moment. Now, kinetic energy defined is energy an object possesses because it is moving, and that is energy, or the energy amount, depends on the speed and mass of the object, and that is kinetic energy. So in kinetic energy, the more the mass you have and more speed you have more kinetic energy. Now, what does it have to do with a bullet? Well, upon impact, the bullet's kinetic energy is transferred to the target, dissipated by heat, sound, and mechanical work, or like creating a wound channel. And the wound channel depends also on the deforming of the bullet. On the diagram we put there on the screen, let's explain what's going on right there. Now, this is what a bullet causes, or how it looks when a bullet causes damage in tissue. Now, first you see the entry of the bullet. As it goes into the tissue, the bullet has what we call kinetic energy. Now remember, we define kinetic energy as velocity plus mass. Now, as the bullet is starts moving across the tissue, it's where the bullet gives the transfer of energy. Now, that transfer of energy is going to cause what we call a pressure wave, what you see on the red around the permanent cavity. Now, this is where some people call it the hydrostatic wave, or we call it the temporary cavity, because this is just temporary, but it still causes damage. Now, that red, anything that's close to nerve, ligament, cartilage, or organ, it's going to cause some damage. And that's how a bullet looks when it's traveling through tissue and causing damage. Let's talk a little bit about a quite debatable subject, which is stopping power. And it's almost as debatable as hydrostatic shock, but to define it, it's the effectiveness of a complex interplay of a bullet's properties. Now, right there on the chart, we listed 5 properties, and that would be bullet mass, bullet velocity, bullet design, target's biology, and transfer of energy, which is kinetic energy. resulting in trauma, shock, or bleeding to the body. Now, in my humble opinion, I don't believe that there is a standardized, definitively measurement of stopping power, but I know it can be estimated. Now, what's more important about a bullet stopping power is accurate shot placement, and that would be the head, the neck, or the chest. Some area where it's going to incapacitate the intruder, the bad guy, the assailant, and how fast it's going to stop it. That is stopping power. And also in stopping power, the bullet has to have lethality. Is it going to kill sometime the assailant? Is it going to kill it in a minute, in 2 minutes, in 3 minutes? How fast is a bullet going to stop the assailant? Now, let's talk about what bullet brands are out there for self-defense and hunting. We put a little diagram right there for you. Now, for self-defense, you have, I just put just 3 of them. There's so many. But one of the ones that are my favorites, or that I supply myself with, is Hornady, Federal, and Winchester for self-defense. And for hunting, if you want powerful bullets for hunting, I listed 3 of my favorites, which is Underwood, Barnes, and Buffalo Bore. Now, let's talk about these FTMs. FTM stands for Fluid Transfer Monolithic. And this bullet, I'll put a picture, an image of that right here on the screen for you. Some of these bullets only are fluted, or they have grooves, or both, like the ones I put right there on the screen for you. Now, what these or how these bullets work, they transfer energy instead of expanding, manipulating the tissue in the target. That is, when they go in and transfer and cause damage, they cause what you have, that hydrostatic wave, and that wave is what causes a lot of damage with these bullets. In other words, the damage is caused by creating a hydrostatic wave, increasing the wound diameter and transferring energy to the target without the bullet expansion. Now, let's talk a little bit the other bullets, like on the picture I'm going to put right here. Also, we have the seven bullets that I use to carry. And right there on the screen to your left side, you have the 22 caliber. That is a hollow point. And then right next to it, you have a 22 Magnum. And then the rest of the 5 bullets right there are defensive bullets, or hollow points. And the first one right there is a 32 caliber. And then right next to the 32 caliber, you have a 380. And next to that is the 9mm. And then the 40 caliber Smith & Wesson. And then you have the big fat boy, the 45 caliber. Now, other bullets that I did mention right now is hard cast bullets. Now, those you use those for hunting. Now, the other ones are Full Metal Jackets. Full Metal Jacket bullet is easy to recognize. It's just all metal all around. It looks like one piece only. Now, I wanted to mention now, as far as the FBI recommendation for a bullet to stop somebody, or have stopping power, they recommend 12 to 18 inches of penetration and 50% of expansion. Okay, now that we talked about how the bullet does damage in tissue, we have the 7 bullets right here. Now you gotta take into consideration that every bullet has a different type of recoil. Some of them have more recoil than other ones. Now, right here on the table with the 22, that has a little bit of recoil. Or if you buy, it just depends. If you buy a pocket pistol, that's gonna have you're gonna feel that recoil. But if you have a bigger gun, then as the bigger the gun, the heavier the gun, that lesser the recoil is gonna be. Now, the 22 has the lesser recoil of the 7. The next one that has a little bit more recoil is the 22 Magnum. Then you have the 32, the 380, the 9, the 40, and the 45. Now, first of all, before you make any decision, I would recommend that you study yourself, that you know your capacities, you know your limitations. And by that, I mean how strong you are, how big you are, how strong is your grip. And after you study yourself, then go out there and see which gun feels good in your hand. Do your research and find out which guns, this is more important more than anything else before you buy a gun. Find out which one is reliable. If you can't not afford it, I think save your money and just buy something that's going to be reliable, that you're going to feel comfortable carrying every day. And you know that when you need it, if you need it, God willing, you never have to use it, that it's going to go bang when you need it to go bang. I hope that this video helps you in determining which caliber you need to buy. I think, in my humble opinion, I wouldn't go smaller than a 380. If you're going to start carrying, if this is going to be the first time that you're going to buy a gun, I would recommend don't go anything lesser than a 380. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, share, and give thumbs up. God bless you and your families. I love you all. We'll see you next time.